The following takes place between midnight and 1 a.m. Events occur in real time.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can now.
Oh, how's your day going?
Shooting some B-roll of this brand new Christopher Ward watch that I got in my hand.
Oh, how is it, the Loco?
It's fucking awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, I gotta admit, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Like,
Huh?
$1,000 like it?
I like it like I would buy this watch like it. I mean, I like it a lot. Here I am shooting some B-roll. I just got the Christopher Ward C12 in, and while I was shooting, I received that phone call that you just listened to. It was recorded right here on this camera, and I decided to leave it in because I think that is probably going to be the most authentic first impression you're ever going to see of this watch. And the reason why is that it wasn't planned. It was just a phone call that I took while I was in the middle of filming, and I think it pretty much lays out exactly how I was feeling when I saw this thing for the first time. Let's get into what makes the C12 Loco a special watch. This is the Christopher Ward C12 Loco, the watch that I am pretty sure is going to be responsible for no one ever calling Christopher Ward a micro brand again. At first glance, it may just look like another one of Christopher Ward's most successful releases to date, the 12. Look again, and you may just see the Belcanto, the watch that put the world on notice that Christopher Ward was not happy playing in the shadows and was going to be a force to reckon with. If you are familiar with either the 12 or the Belcanto, you know it is next to impossible not to acknowledge that those two watches share their DNA with the new Loco. And the crazy thing is that Christopher Ward doesn't even try to shy away from that. And in fact, they lean into it.
I mean, the story starts 5 years ago.
I have had this discussion with Jörg Bader Sr. Wouldn't it be possible to generate with SH21 something special? Bring the balance on top of the movement or bring it on the position at 6 o'clock, something like this.
It's the very initial idea. From there, I then just quickly did some thumbnail sketches just to explore what that could be like, what the kind of the setup of the dial could be. Would we have something a little more asymmetric, have more straight bridges and have the balance wheel move to one side, the time telling.
That clip was from the documentary Freewheelin' that Christopher Ward just released on the making of the C12 Loco. And if you haven't seen it, you probably should take the time to do so. The film chronicles the trials and tribulations of bringing the C12 Loco to market, including the massive challenges of bringing to market Christopher Ward's now second manufacturer caliber, the CW003. This movement was clearly designed with symmetry in mind. Just take a look at this thing. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the finishing other than to tell you that it is very well done. Nicely brushed, nicely polished. The fit of the rubber strap is perfect. The rubber strap is it's soft and pliable, and I will say if I were to own this watch, I would prefer to own this one on a rubber strap. I also want to show you something about the case. This thing has been seriously refined, so just take a look. Okay, since I don't have a 12 here and I have no other way to show you, I just printed these out here real quick because I wanted to show you the difference. It took me a second to really realize the difference between the new Loco case and the 12 case. And I even had this watch in for review. So I had this watch in my hand quite a bit. Even done some macro photography of this watch and still didn't notice it. But just look at the difference in the case. How this is one solid piece and how this one is way more refined. So while yes, this watch here does have the DNA of the 12, the case is absolutely quite a bit different. Christopher Ward states that it takes 138 individual components to bring this work of art to life. And I myself would be remiss if I didn't point out that you should not let the beauty and the architecture of this thing fool you. Thanks to the twin mainsprings, the Loco will stay running accurately for an incredible 144 hours. That is a full 6 days. And did I mention that it is a manually wound watch, which I myself happen to love. On a side note, taking a look at the twin barrels, Christopher Ward states that the barrels are stacked, which in all honesty left me staring at the back of this watch a little more perplexed than I needed to be. I even found myself contemplating that the second barrel that was visible was only a dummy barrel and only there for design and must have been covering up part of the gear train. I mean, after all, stacked to me means one on top of another, and I have a sneaky suspicion that I am not alone on this. I think for this design, it would have been better off called inline instead of stacked. I mean, seriously, just say it with me. The CW12 Loco with the all-new inline twin barrel manufacturer caliber CW003. Maybe I'm reaching, but no? Yeah, I don't know. Hit me up in the comments and let me know. Am I onto something here? Let's have a conversation about it. And while you are there, please help me build the channel by hitting that like and subscribe button. Okay, now for the part that we have all been waiting for, at least the part that I have been anxiously waiting to talk about. Let's talk about the free-sprung balance wheel. Leaving out the fact that it is a bridged, free-floating, open design, let's just take a look at some of the watch brands using a free-sprung balance system or some in-house version of it. Take, for example, the Gyromax regulator by Patek Philippe, the Micro Stella from Rolex. Vacheron uses something similar in their 1142 movement. The list goes on and on. Girard Perregaux, Piaget, FP Journe. I am guessing by now that you get my point, but to be fair, there are quite a few mid-tier luxury brands that use free-sprung balance wheels in their premium models also, such as Tudor, Omega. Just take a look at the new B31 by Breitling. Look familiar? Let's take a look at what separates a free-sprung balance wheel from a standard balance wheel. Okay, so bear with me here because the fact of the matter is that I'm still learning this stuff. So if I get this a little bit wrong, hit me up in the comments and let me know. I just wanted to try to explain this the best I could. When you are looking at a standard balance wheel, in order to have that watch run correctly, you really need two things. You need a good solid amplitude, and that is measured by degrees. So this center point right here that runs right down, actually I believe it shows it right here. So you have a left swing and a right swing. What you would be looking at there is tick, tock, tick, tock. So tick and tock is one beat. The second thing you're going to need is a healthy beat rate. A beat rate that is too slow, the watch is going to run behind. And a beat rate that is too fast, the watch is going to run ahead. On a typical hairspring, I'm going to show you here on this NH35 movement, you're going to have a regulator pin. And on that regulator pin, you can shorten or lengthen the length of the hairspring, essentially slowing or speeding up the beat rate. If you think about it like a coil, the tighter the coil gets, the faster it's going to rotate, and the longer the coil gets, the more room and play it has, the longer it takes to travel around. Here we are taking a look at a standard mass-produced NH35. It's a standard Seiko movement. So you'll see here we have a plus sign and a minus sign. That's telling you that you can shorten or lengthen simply by, I don't have my glasses on, guys, so I'm trying to do this through my magnification, so bear with me. Simply by, remember, shortening or lengthening the hairspring. So that's pretty much like a standard mass-produced movement. That's going to be the movement that allows everything from this NH35 to the SW200s and all those. That's what, when someone's planning on making 1 million pieces, that's going to be what they do. So let me move this out of the way. And again, if I'm incorrect in any of this, I'm still learning as I go. I'm an enthusiast. I'm not a watch maker or watch repair person of any type. So if I got it wrong, hit me up in the comments and let me know. So let's take a look at the Free-sprung balance wheel and the Christopher Ward C12 Loco. This is a Free-sprung balance wheel. And what you will notice the absence of is that there is no regulator. There's nothing here to shorten or lengthen the hairspring. So the way that this particular balance wheel is regulated is through balancing. So you would move these screws in or out to change the inertia. In other words, pull it out some, the weight's going to balance it to pull it back, and vice versa. So this adjustment right here is not something that just anyone can or should mess with. It takes someone who has a ton of knowledge, and it's a very big deal. The fact that Christopher Ward is doing this is pretty amazing. So again, take out the fact that they can't just quickly get in there and regulate this. This thing has to be regulated by a professional. And there's also a downfall of that. That means you just can't take this to Johnny Watch Shop around the corner, because chances are they're not going to know what they're doing. Your typical jewelry store where you could go get your watch regulated is not going to be able to handle this. So again, I hope that kind of breaks down the reason why this movement right here is so impressive to see in a watch at this price point. So if far more complicated, why even use this kind of balance wheel? The simple answer is better accuracy, as the integrity of a fixed spring is superior to an adjustable one and is far less susceptible to shock and positional changes. So I would say that it is official that Christopher Ward is playing in the sandbox of some very heavy hitters. Since the release of this watch, I have seen it compared on social media multiple times to the Chapek Antarctique. And I will admit that both of these watches look like they could belong in the same collection, but I don't think it's a fair comparison, as the Chapek is using a tourbillon that cost over $75,000. With this in mind, I decided to scour the internet in search of the most affordable open balances I could find. Excluding the double tourbillon that I was able to find on AliExpress for an unbelievable price of only $102, the next best thing was the Frédéric Constant Heartbeat, coming in at only $1,595. I am not going to lie, this thing is flat out hideous. I think that it may just be the worst attempt I have ever seen at showing off a balance wheel. But not to worry, because for double the price, Frédéric Constant will simply cut out a bigger hole in the dial and let you see the whole balance. Taking a look at the Raymond Weil Freelancer, coming in at $3,495, well, we are getting close. It does appear to be floating from a balance bridge, but the problem is that it's not a free-sprung balance. How about the Gerard Perregaux Neo Bridge? Now this one will cut it, but it comes in at just under $30,000. Here's an AP that will work, but I'm not even going to bother sharing the price on this one. I think it is safe to say that Christopher Ward has done something really special with this watch. They have created something that is going to ruffle some feathers in the industry. With that said, I do have a few negative things to say, and I in no way mean to offend the people at Christopher Ward, but it is my opinion, so here goes. Number one is 30 meters of water resistance sucks. 30 meters is the bare minimum required to even be able to be considered water resistant, meaning that it is built to withstand a few drops of rain or a splash or two while washing your hands. Number two, and this is subjective, but the name. I know Mike France originally had some serious reservations about the name, as this watch was going to be called the Open Balance.
Just before you get into the detail, something's been eating away for a little while. You're probably not going to like this much. Are we sure about the name?
And after some deliberation, it was decided that the name would be Loco. In my humble opinion, this name is not worthy and does not match the beauty of this watch. For example, take the belcanto. The phrase belcanto translates to beautiful singing. And considering the belcanto chimes once per hour in the key of D, I would say that that is poetic. Just take a listen to this thing. So here's my thought. If Christopher Ward is willing to change the name of the SH21, then there's probably still some hope. If the belcanto sings, then I would say that the Loco dances. So I am going to vote for a name change to the Tarantella. Last but not least, this is not something directly tied to this watch in particular. It's more so about Christopher Ward. I think Christopher Ward should branch out and find a way to differentiate their more premium line. I've felt that way since the belcanto, but to move in a direction kind of like Grand Seiko. The bottom line is this watch is going to cost $5,000 after taxes, and at that price point, people are looking to own something that has a bit of exclusivity. We all know that when buying a luxury watch, people buy the brand just as much as they buy the watch. A $5,000 Seiko, no way in hell. But a $5,000 Grand Seiko, sign me up. Anyway, these are just my thoughts. I respond to every comment, so if you want to have a conversation, hit me up. Please help the channel grow by hitting that like and subscribe button. I want to thank you for watching. I'm James. This is Blue Collar Lux, and I will see you in the next one.